What's up, yo? Welcome to Your One Life. I'm your host, Kim Young Kim, and I'm super glad to have you as a listener today. If you're new here, I want you to know what this podcast is all about. This podcast is about teaching you from the greatest minds in the world, assisting you in all aspects of your life, and showing you how to expand your network of friends on the internet by neglecting your friends in real life. All right, so today's episode is going to be very different from the ones you're used to because I got the great, awesome opportunity to partner with Lamborghini of Atlanta to podcast at their activation event for their new 2025 Urus SE, which is a plug-in electric hybrid with 2 motors and ridiculous amounts of power. It also has a new sleek exterior design, new technology, and an upgraded interior. This is a beautiful, beautiful machine that you have to experience in real life to really appreciate. This was also a partnership with Motor Cars of Atlanta. Shout out to Bree Kabler, by the way, who was an absolute joy to work with. And I really have nothing but good things to say about this whole experience. All right, so in this episode, there's going to be a lot of talk about Lamborghinis because Lamborghini Atlanta was the sponsor of this episode, but also my partner in crime, Mickey Desai, who is one of the co-hosts of the podcast, The Thing About Cars. He was also making a podcast as I was making a podcast, so we were just trying to do a balancing act of the 2 podcast interviews at once. So we did trickle into each other's podcasts some, and if you want to hear all about Lambos and nerd out on them, you can check out his podcast episode. The link will be in the show notes when it's ready. All right, so before we get into the episode, I want to say that I am super grateful for this experience. Man, it felt really good to do it, but it also reminded me that sometimes you put your head down and you work and good things happen, and this is evidence of that statement. All right, so here's a breakdown of how the episode is going to flow. The episode starts with a quick conversation of Mickey and I on site introducing the event, and then we do individual interviews of those invited to the test drive. And at the end, I do a wrap up of the episode. All right, so without further ado, let's get in it. What to do? We are here. It is Mickey and I. We are at Del Bar in Buckhead, grooving to the sounds of these beats. Let's go.
That DJ has got an interesting setup, man.
He does have an interesting setup. It's actually a pretty sweet setup.
Yeah.
I feel like we need to work his setup lower, though. I think we need to tell him.
We may have to bug him about that later, but
yeah.
So what are we doing here today, Kim Young?
Man, dude, we are here and we're talking about this awesome event. Lamborghini Urus is how you pronounce it?
Yes, Urus.
Urus. Yeah, so they are launching their new hybrid SUV. It is a beast of a machine. And yeah, I'm just happy to be here and part of this awesome event and excited to see what comes about it.
Well, some very cool cars are showing up. There are 2, I say regular in air quotes, right? But there are 2 regular Lamborghinis over here on the sidewalk behind us. And then the Urus vehicles are over in the cul-de-sac on the other side of the building, and that's why we're here.
Yes, sir.
An SUV with an 800 horsepower engine. That is just, it just sounds like madness to me. That sounds incredible.
Yeah, it's like my legs. I think I have about that much power in my legs. So.
Well, you work out a lot, so it's possible. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm a challenger to a street race. 0 to 60. Let's see who can get it.
That's right.
Yep.
I bet you could do it. Should we take bets?
Let's
take bets.
Take bets, please. Yeah,
absolutely. So who is the organizer of this event? Obviously, it's Lamborghini plus somebody local.
Right. Motor Cars of Atlanta is putting this together. Bree Kabler is our amazing organizer. She has been a wonder to work with. And yeah, the synergy of a local Atlanta powerhouse and then a not-so-local Italian powerhouse. Yeah.
Right. But Lamborghini is everywhere. It's surprising to me where you actually see the cars. When I lived on the south side, I saw Lamborghinis pull up over there. Of course, up here around the northern end of town, around Buckhead, it's becoming a staple in some ways. Even though they're like super elite cars, you don't have to go very far to see one.
Yeah. My neighbor has one. I hop the fence every day and look at it while he's sleeping. And I'm just like, hey, a man can dream, right?
That's right.
And
I'll take pictures of it and pretend that this one's mine.
Exactly. Yeah.
Cool. Well, this is going to be a fantastic event. I hope we get some good folks to talk to throughout the day, and let's just have some fun with it.
Yeah, absolutely. And maybe we'll smoke a cigar.
Oh, yeah.
And possibly get a tailored suit and whatever else. We got some sweet hats already, so that's already been fun.
That's right. The swag has been distributed.
Yes.
We might have to give away this hat that I'm wearing. I don't know if anyone's going to want it after it's been on my head, but
no, I think that makes it more valuable. I think it's just like, hey, Mickey Warren hat, one of one Lamborghini hat. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
I'll make sure to share photos of the cars on
Yes.
social media and all those other things that y'all probably want to see, because you're like, are they really at a Lamborghini event?
Right.
Or are they just sitting on the patio of Kroger right now?
with the boombox in the back.
Exactly. What are these guys really doing?
What are they doing? We'll prove it in a minute. Stand by, you guys. We'll be back with more.
Indeed.
Hello. My partner here is Kim Young, and I am Mickey Desai, recording live on site at this Lamborghini event. Samuel is our guest at the moment. Samuel, why are you here?
Yes, I'm hosting a few clients and prospects today.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, cool. I want to know more about this business. What you got going on?
Yeah, so I work in private banking.
Yeah.
I work primarily with individuals and families, typically anywhere between 10 to 50 million.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the clients that I work with are private business owners that have recently monetized their business.
Oh, wow. Very cool. I'm curious. Can you tell us like a couple types of businesses? Well, you don't have to get into the nitty gritty, but you have piqued my interest because we're all trying to monetize more, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So the vertical that I tend to focus on is primarily in healthcare and fintech. I really like to lean into fintech because typically what you find there is a lot of hyperscalers. And for me,
hyper what?
Hyperscalers,
what
right?
is that?
So they grow quickly.
Oh, okay. Hyperscalers.
Yeah, hyperscalers, right?
Yeah,
So They tend to grow quickly. I typically work with second and third founders, so it's usually their second or third business, right? Because the liquidity's there.
Yeah.
And we do a lot on the pre-liquidity planning.
Sure.
Yep.
Awesome.
But isn't and we don't have to get into this, but
Yeah.
isn't the fintech market kind of labile, like easy to change? Is it steady, or does it?
It tends to be volatile, right? But the multiples grow rapidly. I mean, I could easily say that probably about 2 weeks ago with all that's going on right now. It's hard to, price companies these days, but it tends to be more volatile industry.
Sure.
Yeah,
But when it scales, man, does it ever scale?
exactly.
That's
right.
crazy.
You
Yeah.
can see we saw a company that was seeded in 2021 and sold for roughly $96 million within a matter of 3 years.
That's
Holy cow.
Yeah.
crazy
That's wild, man.
for stuff that's mostly software driven.
Yeah, it's exciting stuff.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
wonderful.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. Very cool. Well, I guess Mickey and I have to make some apps, and we're going to come see you.
There you go.
Yeah.
We're always taking on more clients.
Rock and roll.
So, Samuel, are you here to look at the Urus today?
Yes.
Do you think you're going to end up driving one?
Definitely driving one.
Like, not just test driving, you're going to put one in your driveway?
We'll think about it, right? I'm going to have a discussion with my girlfriend around that.
Sure.
Yeah, that's generally a good call. Don't make that decision by yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, what about this car turns you on?
For me, I've always enjoyed cars, right? For me, it's a bigger car. When you're driving a Lamborghini, you're really taking control of the road. And then I'm an engine guy, right? We're seeing a lot of people move over to electric cars.
Yes.
But I like to feel the power of the engine.
Yep.
So super excited to test that out today.
Yeah.
I heard that some EV maker was giving you a sound effect. You can hit a button and it sounds like an engine whenever you.
That's not the same.
It's not the same.
That's artificial.
Yeah,
Oh
completely.
No offense if you drive EV.
No. But I got to tell you, we interviewed the guy on the thing about cars. We interviewed the guy who designed the original Miata.
Yep.
And this is a world famous car. It's still around in various incarnations today. But even he said that you have to be intrigued by the possibility of having maximum torque at 1 RPM.
Yeah.
And that's you can only get that with EVs. You can't
Yeah.
get that with internal combustion. So there's a part of me that's like, yes, I will forever miss internal combustion. On the other hand, maximum torque at 1 RPM, I don't know. That's That's tempting. That's very
pretty
tempting.
attractive.
Yeah, anyway.
Yeah, I know nothing about what you just said, but yeah, let's keep it moving. All right, so Samuel, as you've been working in private banking and doing all your stuff, what are some things that you just wish more people knew about so they could be successful and level up their life and do better?
I think an adage that I always live by is focus on productivity and less on results. Because if you focus on productivity, the results take care of themselves. Right? It's almost like 1 + 1 = 2. The only way to increase the output is by increasing the input. So that's been very helpful for me over the years.
Right.
Yep.
So when you say increase the productivity, could you give actual examples or an example?
So let's say, for example, you have a goal to bring in my business, let's say you want to bring in $20 million in a year. Focus more on the activity, right? So $20 million, that's a big goal for yourself in 1 year. And it can be almost daunting if you're staring at that number. But the more you focus on the activity, again, the results take care of themselves.
Yeah.
Right? So activity, which means, contact with clients, prospects, meetings. The more you focus on those activities, the results take care of themselves.
Yeah, it's awesome. That reminds me of a book that I don't know if you know who Bill Walsh is, the San Francisco 49ers coach during the 80s. And he literally wrote a book called The Score Takes Care of Itself.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. I'm an ex-athlete, so
I
think that's where I probably developed this mindset.
Yeah, that's awesome. Sense. Can you tell us more about that? Or?
Yeah, so I played football up until the collegiate level.
Yeah.
Played free safety. Grew up around sports. My dad was a sports guy. He was a part of the first freshman class, the Big East, so he played for Providence College.
Oh, yeah.
So all my life lessons were always tied to sports, right? And I think that easily translates to the work life.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely. Very cool. All right, hit us with something else. What did you learn in sports or other? I'm milking this. I need more information. You got a lot going on here. So
I would say the biggest thing I learned in the sports is you're only as good as your last play.
Yeah.
Right? So it's important to show up every day. It doesn't matter from my perspective as a DB if I got an interception and I took it to the house last game.
Yeah.
If somebody takes me over the top, then you could get pulled, right?
You're only as good as your last play.
You're only as good as your last play.
Huh.
So you have to show up every day.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, no, that's great. That's fantastic. I'm writing that down backwards on the mirror. There it is. Cool. Awesome. Well, Samuel, thanks for coming through.
Yeah.
And do a little wrap up of our conversation, and then we'll call it. All right. Check the things that they're giving me. I'm talking about productivity. I'm talking about you got to do the things that make the results, and that's what you need to focus on every single day, and that's what I'm saying, because the score takes care of itself, and that's what I'm saying. Take that book off the shelf and read it right there, and I just share a whole bunch of things. You got to be a DB. You catch an interception, but you got to learn the lesson. You're only as good as the last play, so don't think about what you did yesterday. Think about the things that you're doing right now, and that's what I'm saying. When I freestyle, I'm talking about private banking, make it grow, and that's what I say. Basically, how we got rhymes, and that's how it goes, and that's what I said with a freestyle flow. Done.
I love that. Thank you.
Thank you, man. Appreciate you. Appreciate you for coming through. Loved having you, man.
All right, thank you.
Welcome. Our guest for this particular segment is Rose. Rose, it's a beautiful day here in Buckhead.
Yes, it is.
What are you looking forward to seeing here today?
I'm looking forward to test driving the Lamborghini Urus. I'm invited by a great friend of mine who works with Motor Cars of Atlanta. And I'm here with my amazing husband, Simon, Amadi, and Mina. He is more into cars than I am, but I'm super excited to, test drive the vehicle today.
We'll happily get Simon on mic here in a second, but you sound like you have an appreciation for this car.
I do.
Why?
I mean, there's a value to it in terms of the price point, and I believe when something has that much value, it does have a lot to offer. So I always think beyond the price tag of something when I make a decision. I look at what value am I getting from what I'm looking into getting, right?
Sure.
In terms of does it have the features that provide the lifestyle that I'm looking for and the status I'm looking for? And so those are kind of things I look for when I'm making a decision.
Yeah. Kim Young, take it away.
Sure.
Yes, sir. So my podcast is all about helping people become better versions of themselves.
Right.
And so I want you to share any advice that you think is helpful and meaningful that you wish more people knew. You got the stage or the floor to share, hey, people need to hear this.
Yeah. I mean, in terms of advice, my personal journey, I wasn't born in the U.S. I'm originally from Nigeria, so born and raised in graduated from Nigeria as well with my BSc in accounting, and then, moving down to the U.S. to pretty much start all over. I would say what really made me successful in terms of my transition was leaning on other people that had, gone ahead of the system. So I always advise people, find a mentor, find someone that has something or is somewhere you would like to be. And, pretty much it's like an open book. It is a roadmap, right? So you're learning from other people's experiences instead of making the mistakes that they've made, right? And I always try to remind people that challenges will always come, and it's very easy to sit back and start worrying and thinking, oh my goodness, what do I do? Worrying basically is like a rocking chair. It takes you nowhere. You got to make a move. It's a mixture of faith and works. You got to make a move, and you'll see things unfold.
Yeah. I love that. And I want to come back to the mentorship aspect. How do you find mentors? Like, how did you find your mentor? What advice do you have on finding mentors?
I would say you can start like someone like me, like not having been born in the U.S. and just moving to a new city that I didn't have a lot of family to lean on. I went to college. I got my MBA when I moved down here. So leaning into your community, either family or like your school or workplace, whatever community that you have, there's always someone that has something more than you do, right? Or someone that you aspire to be like, right? So just leaning into your community is an easy way to find a mentor or someone that can guide you into the right path.
Yeah, wonderful. And so once you find that mentor, what are your best practices for, not keeping your mentor happy, but you understand what I'm saying. Like, you can easily lose a mentor. You can, mentors are busy, because they've done things. And so how do you massage that relationship and keep it going is what I'm trying to say.
Good point. What I would say is, yes, most mentors are busy, right? Because most of them are very successful. They own their own business, or they're executives in their companies. I would say, since you're the one looking for that help, you need to be very intentional with how you're going about that relationship. You need to be very strategic. You need to be more organized in terms of, for me, how I found my mentor was through my college, and also even my family members. I have family members too that, have done a lot of great things. But what I would say is intentionally setting time to connect. So it could be every month, we can grab a 30 minutes coffee, just being very intentional, putting on the calendar. Life is super busy, and I have a mantra that is if it's not on my calendar, it pretty much doesn't exist, right? So literally everything is on my calendar.
So you're talking about an actual formal relationship with the person,
Yes, and then with time, it would eventually evolve into something that is less formal.
Yeah.
Right, so, but it takes time.
No, that's wonderful. That's great advice. And when you said worrying is like a rocking chair, I want to know how you deal with the thoughts of a worry, because we all have them, right?
True.
To whatever level. So how do you manage that worry that does show up in your life?
It does for sure, as a human. But I would say me being a Christian and leaving my faith out, when those thoughts come to my mind, or those, negative feelings or beliefs, and I kind of speak positive things to counter that. That, the fact that I'm here today, it means, I'm supposed to be here, right? So speaking positive things into yourself, into yourself, just speaking it out loud to encourage you, and also reminding yourself as to where you're headed, what your goal, what the reason is. So just constantly reminding yourself of what the vision is would help to counter that negative thought.
Wonderful.
We're all humans. We definitely would experience it at some point.
Oh, yes, absolutely. No, that's great advice. That's great advice.
That is fantastic. So what are you most looking forward to about the Urus today? Have you done some research into the car already?
To be honest, I haven't done a lot of research in the car, but I do know it offers some form of luxury that I'm definitely looking forward to, the massage features that it has, the sunroof, and, so many other features that it does have. But I am definitely excited to, learn about it more today.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen videos, and it looks like a plane cockpit, honestly. I'm just
for
sure.
Sure. Yes, but it definitely has a prestige that, once you look at it, it's you kind of have arrived. For sure. Yeah.
I have not actually checked out the car yet. I need to go take a look up close and personal, but will you be doing a test drive today?
I will be doing a test drive today.
Well, I hope you'll take a minute to come tell us how it went.
Sure, absolutely.
Great. Thank you, Rose. I really appreciate your time.
Yes, absolutely. And I'm going to wrap this up real quick.
All right.
And then we'll be done. All right. Yeah, well, I'm talking about the center. I'm talking about a mentor, a person that's been on the road that you want to go. And that's what I'm saying. When I flow, I'm talking about the people that can guide the way. And that's what I'm saying. Do it all day, but you got to put it on the calendar so you can get the time. And that's what I say, constantly find maybe 30 minutes. And you got to understand, you got to be intentional and organized. And that's what I'm saying. Yo, you just arrive by the people that are around you. You got to check your community. And that's what I'm saying. You got to fight them bad thoughts with positivity. And that's what I'm saying. Yo, I'm just living free. I'm talking about things that I got to bring, maybe a whole bunch of faith and also my works. And that's what I'm saying when I come through and search for the things I want. And that's how I'm going, just in the right path. And that's the task. And that's what I say when I come up, rap, spit off top. And that's how I go. Rose Amadi right there, up in the flow.
Hey, awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. All right.
That's fun.
Kim Young, who's our guest?
We have Mr. Simon Amadi Amina in the house. Actually, we're outside, but he is here in the chair, and he's about to share a bunch of good things with us.
Absolutely. Simon, is this your first look at the Urus?
It's not my first look at the Urus. I do have friends that have them, but this is going to be the first time I will drive one.
Oh, so you are going to do the test drive today?
I am going to test drive one.
I can't wait to hear about it. So why the Urus? Why not any of the competitors?
Well, because it's different. You know, everyone is, when you see Lamborghini, you see the low to the ground, sporty look, Batmobile type,
Yeah.
But when they came out with the Urus a few years ago, it was something that we had never seen. It was like, okay, what's it going to look like? Is it going to be as fast? Is it going to give you the same experience?
Yeah.
And I love it. Like, I haven't driven it. I've been driven in one.
Yeah.
But there's a difference when you're being driven and when you're in the driver's seat.
Sure.
So I had the opportunity. She brought me out the house, said, hey, you need to come check this out. So I said, all right, why not?
Yes, sir.
So what's it like being a passenger in one? Because I think you're the first person who we've talked to today who's been in one. So
I think it's a lot scarier as a passenger.
Honest man. I love it.
Yeah, because you have no control. You're just there. But when I drive fast, I feel like I'm driving slow. Like, because I'm in control. I know how fast I'm going. My feet's on the pedal. I can gauge. But when someone else is in control, I'm just like, okay, I hope they know what they're doing. This is great, but
you have to trust, yeah.
But it's beautiful. I think cars are beautiful machines. The few things where you can still have control and still feel the engine, feel the exhaust, feel the shifts.
Yeah.
Very cool. Well, I love a beautiful car. I also love this beautiful life that we live, right? That's what my podcast is called, Your One Life. And I love asking people for advice that they're just like, hey, here's what's going to help you along your journey. Here's what's going to help your listeners along their journey. Here's something that maybe people don't know, that's not common knowledge. What advice do you have for us, Samuel, so that we can just improve our lives and maybe buy these fancy cars?
I would say one thing that has helped me in my journey is trust in the process. There's something I always tell my team and my staff, A plus B equals C.
Oh, yeah.
All right, 1 + 1 = 2.
Yeah.
The process is key. There's a lot of everything right now sometimes can be smokes and mirrors, and no one really gives authentic advice. It's usually copy and paste.
Sure.
Which is not bad in certain cases, but when you trust the process, and there's a reason why you have that idea. There's a reason why you got that idea at that moment. It's because you have the ability to go ahead and do it. So just have faith and do it. There's a reason why I didn't have the idea and you got it. There's a reason why someone else at that point in time, if you don't act on it, someone else is going to get it and act on it at the same time. So trust in the process is key in everything. And mentorship is something I've started learning. I was used to doing things myself, and I had more control of doing it myself, but learning to ask for help with someone who is where you want to be goes a long way.
Right.
Because believe it or not, a lot of them don't get asked for help.
Yeah.
They ask for handouts,
Right.
but none of them ever ask. And then when you ask for the help, actually do it because they are watching. And once they see you act on what they told you, then they're willing to help you a little bit more.
Yeah. It's they're just like, all right, you're actually not wasting my time. You're gonna do the thing that I tell you to do. That's awesome. Very cool. And then when you talk about your team, I don't want to get too much in your business if you don't want to, but I do want to ask you about teams because, like, what are your advice on that aspect of success? Because we can't all do it ourselves, right?
Right. So that's something my wife had to push me to do because she's like, you're always going to your station. You're always going to this. You're always going to that. Just delegate. And that's the one thing I would say is you can't replicate yourself.
Right.
So focus on your strengths and the things that you're not as good at. Find it in your staff. If someone is good at this, and say, hey, have you thought about doing this? And just test them.
Yeah.
And then you'd be surprised how well they would do certain things. And they say, you know what, I'm going to pay you a little bit more to handle this. And it takes that off your plate. And I would never admit it, but I'm like, whoa, they're doing this way better than I would have done it.
Yeah, of course.
And I'm like, all right, good job. But having a team is key because they want that olive branch.
Yeah.
And things get redundant in the day-to-day. So you giving them something extra to do and seeing how well they do it, they were bored in the first place. So they're like, you know what, this is good. I want to prove myself and stand out from the rest of the team. Mm-hmm. And, trusting them, it takes a while.
Right.
It may take them some time to get it right. But I promise you, once your team is able to have your back and you make it more of I own the company, but we own the company.
Sure.
It makes things easier. And then if you want to replace somebody, for whatever reason, maybe they chose a different path, you're not replacing someone that knows how to do everything. You're replacing just one piece of it.
Sure.
And you can easily take out that piece and replace that piece so things can still move in that ecosystem. So
no, that's awesome. That's fantastic. And I love how you said you do certain things well and do those things, but then the things you don't do well, because, man, there's some things I don't do well. And I need to find some people to help me out. So very cool, very cool. Well, Mickey?
There's some things that you don't do well?
You know what? If I'm going to be honest, most things I don't do well.
That's funny.
Boy.
Yeah.
So, Samuel, test drive coming up, first time behind the wheel.
Yeah.
Is there going to be a person in the seat next to you when you do this drive? Can we wave at you when you drive by? What's going to happen?
Yeah, my wife is going to be beside me. She feels like I would do a better job driving.
No.
Samuel, thank you for taking the time.
Hey, thank you for having me.
Please come tell us how the test drive went.
We'll do.
Absolutely. And before you leave, we'll wrap this up real quick. All right.
Okay.
So, drop a bunch of logic. I'm saying trust the process. I'm talking about the things that you got to do because A plus B it equals C. And basically what I see is a hypotenuse. I'm talking about a whole bunch of things that I learned in math. And that's what I'm saying. That is the task. That's the thing that we got to do. So we come through and find a mentorship so you can mentally flip and do a whole bunch of things and just go to the next level because they've been there. And I just share a whole bunch of things. When I make it straight, I'm talking about delegate to the people that you could do the thing better than you. And that's what I do when you come on through. But don't teach them everything because they might leave. And that's what I do. I might see a whole bunch of people up in my flow, and that's what I'm saying. So basically, I got sample rule right here, up in the flow, and if you don't know, act like you know. Done.
That's what's up.
Thank you.
That's a good summary.
Yes, sir. Well, Samuel, it's been a pleasure, man.
Thank you for having me. Man.
Cheers.
It's good.
All right.
Hello and welcome. We are back. I am Mickey Desai, representing the Thing About Cars. My co-conspirator over here is named Kim Young Kim. What's the name of your podcast?
So my podcast is called Your One Life. That's WON. It's a personal development podcast because we could all do a little better and learn a lot more, and here we are.
So right now we're talking to Craig Arthur Von Schroeder. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. What a day.
What a day.
85 degrees.
Indeed.
Music's going. Yeah. Good day to be alive.
What brings you here to this event?
So I actually own a custom clothing company called Commonwealth Proper. We've got 5 locations. One of them is Atlanta, Georgia. And I used to be an attorney for 6 years in Philadelphia. Before that, I was a professional soccer player for 3.
Oh, my gosh.
So I'm like Madonna, keep reinventing myself.
Sure, yeah.
It's my 3rd career, and this one has stuck. So we make all of our clothing in America, from denim to dinner jackets. Yeah, it's a passion.
Yes, sir.
What makes this profession stick?
I think it's each client that we work with. We work privately. We have our own private showrooms, and it's kind of a one-on-one thing. So each client is kind of a new project, and I find that everyone has different needs and wants and desires, and through clothing, I'm able to really help enhance people's lives. And literally every time I put a shirt or a suit or a pant on somebody, and it fits and they love it. They go out in the real world, they come back to me, they say, I'm getting compliments. That makes me feel good. So it's really kind of a cyclical thing, man.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So have you driven a Lamborghini?
Only in video games, but
Same.
I have fantasized about that old school, like 1980s square Lamborghini truck.
Yes.
Like the first sports car truck. They predated anybody doing it, and I think Sylvester Stallone had one. He got one back in the day when he was on top. But yeah, that's my favorite. That's my favorite one.
I know the one you're talking about. The thing looks like a beast. It is an absolute monster of a truck.
Yeah. I'd like to drive that one for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
Well, most people aren't aware. I mean, maybe my listeners are, but Lamborghini started off as a tractor company. So Mr. Lamborghini apparently went to go talk to Mr. Ferrari back in the day, and Ferrari said something to piss off Lamborghini, and he said, basically, screw you, I'm going to go make my own sports car, and that's what led to this, all of what we're seeing today.
That's super interesting. Where's the bull come from? Do you know that piece of trivia?
I think he's a big fan of bulls, and I think bulls are a big part of Italian culture.
Yeah.
And
I'm a Taurus, that's why I asked.
Oh, yeah,
I've got
for
a bull
sure.
tattoo on my leg. So
there you go. Very cool.
So yeah, in truth, I don't know really where the bull comes from for their symbolism, but
Yeah, I think it comes from its mom. But anyways, here we are. All right, so Craig, you have, God, I'm so interested about your previous careers, but I also am interested on how you interact with this high clientele. What makes you successful in doing business with them? Because it's not for everybody, and there's a lot of high touch that you have to do. And what are your best practices? How do you run your business so that they keep coming back?
Great question. I guess I sort of draw from when I was an attorney, and the first thing you do when you're an attorney and you have a client, you do a discovery, right? You ask them a lot of questions, then you listen. So I think listening to what your client's saying, shutting up, and listening to what their pain points are, because everyone comes at things from their own perspective. They have their own life and lifestyle. Everyone has different fit issues as well. Some people are taller, some people are shorter, some people are bigger, some people are smaller. And with each person's individuality, they have their own set of needs. And it's my job and my team's job to listen to what those are, right? So we can only provide advice once we get all the information. So it's just asking a lot of questions, shutting up, listening, taking copious notes, and then, and only then, being able to sort of give our professional advice on what clothing will work best for the person.
Yeah, just being really mindful of what their needs are and what their desires are.
Yeah, and passion too. The second part of that is listening. The other one's passion. Everyone that works for me cares deeply about clothing and about their clients, and you can't fake that. Because one-on-one, you're meeting with someone, you can tell if they're BSing you or not. And my team is a small team, but we're like the Green Berets of clothing.
Sure.
We're like the elite Navy SEALs or what have
Absolutely.
you. Because they really care. And the people who've been with me for decades, working with me, since, we don't have a lot of turnover. People are really committed to the craft. And that keeps me excited and keeps the clients coming back. It's when clients come back and they build out their entire closets. That's where really that's where we shine, and that makes it a business.
That's amazing. And so, when you expanded in 5 locations, what is something you learned as you were expanding? Because that's not a small thing to expand, right? It's kind of a big deal.
Yeah, when you expand, you multiply your problems. There's a great book called The E-Myth, which I don't know if you're familiar with.
Yes.
It's for any business owners out there. It's sort of required reading, and it's about just getting your systems down before you expand. You know, because if you multiply the chaos, it's no good. So we've done a series over the 17 years of expanding and contracting. We had stores in LA a couple times. LA's a tricky market, but getting the secret sauce down in one place before you expand is the right thing to do, Yeah,
absolutely. So, Craig, I need more. Hit me with one more important thing that the people need to hear to make their lives better, because you got 3 careers under your belt and a thriving business.
Call your parents.
Oh, okay.
I learned this during COVID. I'm 47 years old now, and growing up, I was the kid who never called their parents unless I had something good to say, and I was always striving as an entrepreneur, as an attorney. I'd only call them when something good was happening, and when you're in the hustle, it's few and far between. But during COVID, I realized that your parents, they don't really care about necessarily only your successes. They just want to know that you're okay. So since COVID started for the, maybe the past 4 years now, I've called my parents every morning at 8 a.m. And it's changed their lives.
Oh my
gosh. They tell me that every morning. And,
oh my gosh.
And knock on wood, they are both healthy. They're in their late 70s, but I can tell when I talk to them, and it's even just, hey mom, I got 3 minutes. Have a great day. I love you. Bye. That's all they care about. I don't have children, but I know that it's changed my parents' lives, and I have a lot of friends who didn't even talk to their parents. I think it's a sin, and call your parents is my unsolicited advice on living.
That's so good. All right, very cool, man. Well, that is a positive note, and one we have not heard. I don't think I've heard that on my podcast ever, so thank you for sharing that. That is fantastic. All right, Craig, I'm going to wrap this up, and then we'll call it a day. All right. You're here up on a mission. I'm talking about how you got to listen. You got to open up both ears and just understand what their freaking needs are, what their freaking desires. And that's what I'm saying. You got to be inspired. You got to have a whole bunch of passion. That's what I'm saying. Are you asking yourself what lit you up on the inside? And that's what I'm saying. You got to just grow. Basically, Craig just dropped it. I'm just talking about right here. I'm talking about things that you got to do, like pick up the phone and call up your home. I'm talking about the one that you grew up in, and that's what I'm saying. Don't do that. That's a sin, and that's what I'm saying. And that's how you begin your morning all the time, and that's what I find. 8 a.m., I check up on them, and that's what I do. I come through and send love to mom and dad, and that's how I go. Craig right there, up in the flow. Boom.
So check us out, commonwealthproper.com.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'll drop that in the show notes to make sure that you have the link.
Appreciate you, brother.
Yeah, thanks for coming through, man. Appreciate you.
Can you spit some bars or what, man?
Go for it, man. All right. We are here with Miss Bree Kabler, who is the reason why we're here. Not on Earth, but I mean, at this event anyways. So thank you so much, first and foremost, Bree, for bringing us out here. And we've been having a blast and, connecting with some really cool people.
Absolutely. We're so glad to have you all, and I'm glad everything worked out because I think all of the clients are excited. So everything's great.
I'm glad to see it's going so well. Is this the turnout you were expecting?
Yes, absolutely. And I feel like everyone's coming with this afternoon crowd. So we're happy that everyone's having a good time.
Yeah.
And it looks like we have enough space and seating for everybody. So that always helps.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what's your official title with the organization?
Yeah, absolutely. Client Engagement and Marketing Director. So, have 6 brands now. So trying to get it rocking and rolling.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
With Motor Cars of Atlanta.
Yeah, with Motor Cars of Atlanta.
So 6 brands, and obviously today the spotlight's on the Lamborghini Urus.
Yes.
But you have a couple of other non-Urus vehicles up front here. What are those?
Yes. So the first one over there is the Lamborghini Revuelto, which is our big boy model, and then we also have the STO. So those are our pretty big hot ticket models, and everyone's excited about them. And the Revuelto is actually the new replacement for the Aventador. So
I see.
Yeah,
they are just. I'm going to say it, Kim Young. I got to say it. They are just sexy.
Yeah,
they are.
The Revuelto's rear end is like hypnotizing.
Crazy.
It's just
Batman. They call that the Batman mobile right there.
But the Urus is what the event is about, so people are able to actually test drive one today.
Yes, Urus SE, that's the hybrid model, so everyone's able to come out, test drive it, kind of see it in person, check out the new interior, and we're pretty excited about that as well.
Yeah, it's exciting. So I've only talked to one person so far who's done the test drive, and luckily he also has last year's Urus, and he had positive things to say about the experience, but he did say that it was different driving the hybrid versus the non-hybrid vehicle. And I was wondering if you had a chance to make a comparison. Have you heard anything?
Yeah, it's crazy. I actually had my first test drive in it today. Actually on the way here, ironically, kind of just happened like that. The car, it was super loud. I wasn't expecting that. And I was like, Joe, is it supposed to do this? And he's like, yeah, I was telling you, it's loud. So, very nice sound to it. It's probably one of my favorite as far as how it sounds. So I was pretty impressed with it.
Yeah.
And then I would say another thing for me was how smooth it drives.
You
know what I mean? I mean, all of them drive pretty smooth, but I couldn't hear anything. Of course, it's a hybrid model, so I was unsure. It was loud, but I was unsure if the car was on, so I was confused.
I can't wait to get a close-up look at it at some point.
Yeah, absolutely. Make sure you guys get a test drive. So you can really talk about it.
Indeed. So first and foremost, it's been a pleasure working with you.
Yeah, absolutely. Likewise.
I can tell that you're perfect for your job and interacting with people, and just the people skills are off the charts.
Thank you.
So yeah. So as you've come into this work, you've learned a lot about life, learned a lot about dealing with people, and you have some, I'm sure, really great advice on being successful and just doing this thing called business, doing this thing called life, and a lot of it is transferable, right?
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. I mean, one thing about me, I'm very passionate about bringing experiences to people. So anything I create, as far as the events or the client engagement, I always want people to be able to leave here and say, like, that made me feel good, whether it was nostalgic or just a good vibe or just I met some great people. You know what I mean? I think the age we're living in, times, it's all about that, like, experience, you know what I mean, and the emotion you can create from these events. So yeah, thank you all for coming. You are a huge part of this. I think that's what loosened the crowd a little bit, and hopefully Kim Young can give us a little something.
Little something. I think you're expecting me to build a car. Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely,
that's something.
that too.
I've done that a few times in my life.
Come on.
Very cool. So as you interact with people, give me some of your people skill advice.
People skill advice. I would say for me, it's all about my intention, usually. You know, again, that's my personal experience as far as people skills. I usually have an intention for everything that I do, even the relationships that I build, and it's really about building the actual relationship and just being open to listen to new ideas and create together, because I think that's what it's about. You know what I mean? It's paying it forward at the end of the day. So
yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. So I want to help you just as like you guys want to help me. We make each other look good.
Yeah. Indeed.
Yeah.
Thank you for the kind words, and thank you for inviting us here today.
100%.
This has just been a phenomenal event. I hope there's an opportunity to do this again.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll definitely talk soon.
Absolutely. Wonderful. Sounds great. All right, well, little something, huh? Here we go.
Yeah.
All right. Yo, I come through when I'm feeling it. I'm talking about experience. I'm talking about the good things that are inside the people, and that's what I'm saying. I got to spread a good vibe, and that's how I say, that's how we arrive. I'm talking about good things that we just bring a whole bunch of joy that I give to you, and it's transferable, and that's what I'm saying. I spit a freestyle, and I'm just staying up in my mind. I'm talking about people skills. I know how you got to be real. You got to be authentic, and also have intention. That's what I'm saying. Give each other a mention. You build each other up, and just be open to new ideas, and that's what I'm saying. So we could all just grow and just be better, and that's what I'm saying. Good weather and good vibes up in my rhyme, and that's what I say, and that's my time. Spit off the top, and that's how I go. Bree Kabler right there, up in the flow.
Hey, see, Kim Young, everybody.
Indeed.
Yeah,
Bree,
thank you all. They're amazing.
Yeah, pleasure. Cheers.
Awesome.
We are sitting here at the, what does that say, Automobili Lamborghini event, unveiling Uruses and checking out a couple of other rather good-looking automobiles around here. Our guests are?
Tronda.
And Brad.
Brad, very nice to see you guys both. Are you Lamborghini owners already?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, she has a pink Lamborghini Aventador.
You don't tell them what I got. Tell what I got.
Shoot, hey, you know
Sir?
the missus already knows what it is.
Got a pink Lamborghini Aventador up in here.
Yes,
Tell them
sir.
what you got, though.
And I got a blue Lamborghini Urus.
Oh, nice. That's what's up. All right. Well, what do you love about your cars?
Well, what I love about my car is I love the way it sounds. I love the way it runs. I love how the doors flip up and not out to the side.
Yes, sir.
I love that it's a convertible.
Yep.
You know, I love that car.
Yeah.
Her name is Pink Ice.
Pink Ice.
You named it Pink Ice. That's awesome.
Hey, every time she
Beautiful.
brings that car at the house, everybody's eyes be sitting over there trying to figure out, is that Nicki Minaj? It's a pink Lamborghini just went by. Like, it's got to be Nicki. It's so funny.
That's
That
wild.
is fantastic.
Yes. And what about yours, babe?
Yeah, I mean, mine's such a daily driver, and I drive it every day. So it's just fun to be able to, like, you know, drive the SUV because it's so well balanced. So you still got, like, the speed and power of a normal Lamborghini, but at the same time, like, you still got that nice, like, comfortable drivability, and you can change the modes to where if you want to ride in the snow, you can. You can drift in that thing.
Ooh.
The all-wheel drive is freaking amazing.
Yeah.
And then you can actually turn on the exhaust. So if you want to hear it and you want it to be real loud and be more aggressive, you flip the switch. You put it in course mode, put it on sport mode.
Like
you can hear that
mine.
engine roar. It's like, whoa, not crazier than her engine because that Aventador, it just pops off. Like,
Yeah, the Aventador is a beast, absolutely. So have you had your cars out on the track?
Not these particular ones. Yeah, not these.
She took her pink Rolls Royce on the track.
Oh my God.
She took that on the Atlanta Motor Speedway. You saw that thing going sideways. People were like, is that a pink Rolls Royce?
That's
going
hilarious.
down the track.
That is not something you see every day.
No,
man,
you know.
that is fantastic.
Love it.
Okay, so my last question before I hand it over to Kim Young here. Why Lamborghinis? What's the deal? I mean, why not any? Both of you have Lamborghinis. Was that a coincidence? Did what happened?
Man, this is my second one.
Uh-huh.
So I had a Huracan before this one.
Okay.
And one of the things what I love about Lamborghini is the fact that the way it, even though people always say, you know, the way they ride and all that, I love the way it rides. I love an aggressive situation. Like I love riding a vehicle riding in a vehicle that basically looks like it's riding me, kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Sure,
like,
sure.
It's the ride for me. Like I really enjoy it.
And that's what she said.
Yeah.
No, but the cool thing, though, is that, you know, you don't really see women who actually drive Lamborghinis.
No, that's true.
You know, it's rare, especially in Aventador, because even most guys,
yeah.
they won't even see somebody driving an Aventador. So
That's a fact.
it's rare to have a female enthusiast, and that's why I love my wife so much, because
Yeah.
we both are, like, real similar as far as our love and passion for cars.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, she was like, look, I want my Aventador. And I'm like, hey, babe, you got to go ahead and get it. If you go get the big boy.
So this is Tronda's second one. Did you introduce him to Lambos, or was it the other way around?
You know, I had I don't know, I mean, Baby already knew about Lamborghinis and stuff. But I basically, we got it, and it was like one of those things where I didn't think I was going to be driving as much as I did. But when I drove that bad boy, I was like, oh, Lord, I love the way it sounds. It was an LT, and it was nice. Like, I mean, it was being some of them other people who had the two wheels, or mine was there was a 4-wheel drive.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I was like, it was so... It just, I don't know, that's how I fell in love with it. It was just one of them things where it was just like, I love the sound. I
Yes.
love cranking it up. I love, like, again, the bumpiness. I love lifting
Yes.
it when I have to lift it. I love letting it down when I let it down. I love how,
yeah.
I mean, it's all these things are just,
Yeah, that's
Lord.
but no.
I would like to, talk about personal development because that's what my podcast is about.
That's awesome.
And so I want to hear the great advice that you have on what the people need to hear so they can be successful that they may not already know, or they just need to hear more of. So give me some of that sweet V12 advice.
All right, so the thing is, like, we came from a background where we went through bankruptcy, foreclosure, was doing real estate for a while and realized that wasn't working out.
That's his style. That's his story.
Yeah, so this is what happened with me, and she's going to tell you what happened with her, and it's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, didn't have any money left. Repossession man kept coming. I heard him every single night at 3 o'clock in the morning coming to tow the car. I was just like, dang, I'm like, this is crazy. And so we decided to get into healthcare. Figured out that was going to be a better way of us to be able to do business, be able to find, like, the type of success we were looking for while being able to help people at the same time. And it was just us saying, like, look, we're not going to give up no matter what. Only with
That's it.
$120 in the account, we were like,
Oh,
look,
wow.
we going to make this work. I was dating her at the time, and I didn't have no
together
money to
for
afford
18
McDonald's.
years
I would swipe my card, we get declined.
Oh, my goodness.
Most women won't even let you take them to McDonald's, little less your
Exactly.
card decline at McDonald's. They're like, what? You can't afford a double quarter pounder with cheese? You best to get to stepping.
Oh, man. So that's like a downgrade from the Cheesecake Factory, and you stuck with them. Good job.
And it wasn't just one time that his car declined. It may have been about 3 of us.
Yep.
Okay.
That's
All
true.
right. All right. Well, there it is.
But your word is basically, don't give up.
Yeah, you can't give up. You got to keep on going. You got to persevere no matter what. And then even if it feels like it's going to be super tough, remember it's called going through something because you're not meant to stay in it. Like you're going through it because you will come out on the
Love
other
it. Love
side.
that, yeah.
And you will be stronger when you come out.
Yeah.
Now, when you listen to what she's gone through,
Okay.
a whole nother level.
Couldn't nobody tell me that I wasn't going to be successful. I'm just saying.
All right.
I was homeless. I came in Atlanta with $25 in my pocket. I graduated at a homeless shelter. So I've lived a life of not necessarily the need, but I knew what I wanted. And so by me knowing what I wanted, I knew for a fact that it would never get to a point to where I would not have it. So applying the emotion to the knowing that you want to have makes things different for your life. So in my eyesight, it was one of those things like when we worked together, I knew it was going to be successful no matter what. The whole thing was not giving up. So it was never a matter of giving, never had more to do with the fact of just knowing that I was going to be successful no matter what. People might look at you crazy when you start talking to them about the fact of you knowing certain things. Let them look at you crazy because they looked at Jesus when he was crazy, when they're telling Jesus, tell me he's going to be on the cross and all that good old stuff. And he's like, God has never left him. The same thing with us. This universe, the world, will never leave you unless you let it leave you. Meaning like you are allowed to have anything you want in your life, but you have to know that you deserve it. And I knew I deserved it.
Oh, that's
Just
wonderful.
simple as that.
I love that. I love that. And since y'all are married, give me some of that sweet marriage advice for the people out there who are married or want to be.
Communication?
Hey, communication.
Okay.
No. We already know the answer. The answer is grace each other.
Hey, and fall off the motorcycles together.
Oh,
There
yeah.
you go. Oh, wow.
I took her for a ride on one of our first dates, and literally we fell off a motorcycle. We're rolling down the hill. We're tumbling. I'm scratched up. She's scratched up. We bleeding together on the ground.
Oh, my
Oil,
goodness.
gas spilled all over. We just like, damn. And I looked over at her. I was like,
This
so you
is
think
love.
we can have another date after this?
I didn't say it. I was like, yes.
She's like, yeah, you gonna teach me how to ride?
Right, that's it.
And I was like, I could do that. And so then she got her own motorcycle. She
There
didn't
you
ride
go.
me anymore.
There you go. All right. So everybody get 2 motorcycles and you'll have a
Communication.
perfect marriage. Okay.
Yeah,
got it.
communication.
Communication.
Yeah.
And if you, even if you don't want to hear it, still communicate with them. You know, if it makes things much better. What you don't want is like, don't lie to the person to make them like you. Tell the truth about the situation to make them love you.
Oh, wow.
So when you tell the truth, you're opening up a whole different can of conversations about what it is that you want and how you want this relationship to be.
Right.
And it makes a complete difference.
I like it. I was going to ask if we could drill down on the communications bit again, because communications, having that conversation involves, it's more than just speaking, right? So
Yes, all the way.
you got to listen.
Yep.
So communication means not only to be able to articulate your heart, but finding a person who can listen to it as well.
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely agree. It works both ways.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of like with us now. Like, there's things that. What's interesting with us is like my husband. We've built a relationship of trust. Now, the relationship wasn't immediately trust, but we had to make it trust.
Sure.
Right.
And so when we made it trust, that's when things kind of evolved in a different direction. I always believe what's up top will dwindle down into what's at the bottom. And so with us in our relationship, I felt like once we made a complete commitment to each other, once we made things become a certain way, our business just flourished. All these things just popped off. All the life happened. And it's, it takes 2 to make a heart.
And it's been 18 years now.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's great.
And as young as we look.
Yeah, no, y'all look great.
You know?
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Because we're
18
happy.
years.
Yeah,
Happy.
Sure.
that's great.
Happiness, I believe, is your fountain of youth.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
absolutely.
That is fantastic. Thank you,
Yeah, thank you.
Tronda. Thank you, Brad, for being our guest today.
This was fun.
And we hope we get to see you again sometime.
Absolutely.
Thank
It's a
you.
pleasure.
Indeed.
Hey.
And before you go,
Okay.
I'm gonna do a little wrap up real quick, and then all right, here we go.
Okay.
All right, check it. Yo, I come through when I cheer. I'm talking about persevere. I'm talking about you got to just keep on going no matter what the obstacles are. You got to go through it, and that's what you got to do. You got to just do it. I'm talking about understanding what your worth is, and that's what I'm saying. You don't need to search it. You just need to understand it's inside of you, and that's what I'm saying. And that's just true. I'm coming out the top talking about things that we bring. Yo, I'm just coming and talking about a whole bunch of communication. Yo, I'm
Yes.
just saying a whole bunch of things, not for you to like me, but for you to freaking love me, and that's what I'm saying. That is really quite lovely. I'm talking about being honest. Come straight through and just have your promise and be a man of your word, or also a woman that comes straight through, and we are just cooking with a whole bunch of good things. That's what we got to do, and that's what I'm doing. When I just talked to you, Brad and Chandra, yo, I'm just on the mic right now, and that's how I go, and that's what I said with a freestyle.
Let's go.
style.
Hey, that's what I'm talking about. Mic drop.
Okay?
Yes, sir.
Let's go. Love it.
Yeah, my
Beautiful.
pleasure, my pleasure. Yeah, thank y'all so much for coming through.
Yeah, that was fun.
All right, so that's the episode. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got a lot out of it. And I hope you take the Urus SE for a test drive one day, with permission, of course. Speaking of which, I just came back from my test drive, and I got the pictures to prove it. And I'm going to frame and hang these pictures in every hotel lobby in Atlanta, because it's time for me to do some personal guerrilla marketing. Let's go. By the way, shout out to Joe Osorio at Lamborghini Atlanta for hosting me on my test drive. It was a dream driving this majestic machine, experiencing all the technology inside, and your hospitality was next level. Again, shout out to Bree at Motor Cars of Atlanta. Shout out to Motor Cars of Atlanta. Shout out to Lamborghini Atlanta for the fun partnership. I hope we can do something again in the future. And also shout out to Mickey Desai from The Thing About Cars for co-hosting with me. Also my podcast buddy, Juan Barona, one of the co-hosts of the MRP show, who was helping behind the scenes capturing video. Shout out to Ted Craig of Quick Edit Podcast, who edited this episode, and also to my dude Siraj Rhett, who made the theme music of this podcast. If you're new here, please hit the follow button so you don't miss future episodes. And if you've been listening, please rate and review the podcast. It helps a ton to get good guests and possibly sweet gigs like this one in the future. Here's a recent review that was left by Sales to Ignite. I was able to witness this podcast live in Atlanta at Pod ATL, and I was impressed with Kim Young Kim's ability to get the most out of his guests. Plus, check out his freestyle skills that pay the bills. Thanks so much for the kind words, Sales to Ignite. Pod ATL was a blast, just like this event was a blast, and I hope to do more live events in the future. All right, so if you leave a review, your review also might be read aloud on the podcast, and thanks in advance for those of you who do. So that's all I got for now. This is Your One Life. I'm Kim Young Kim, and I hope you have a fantastic day and week. Until next time, peace!